When people hear the name Thor, they imagine thunder crashing across the sky, lightning tearing the clouds apart, and a god swinging a mighty hammer with unstoppable force. But what if I told you that thunder was only the surface? What if the god you think you know, loud, fierce, and invincible, was also deeply flawed, emotional, burdened by doubt, and far more human than the gods around him? Tonight, we're not telling the story of Thor the weapon. We're telling the story of Thor, the protector, the traveler, the sun, and the god who carried the weight of Midgard on his shoulders. This is Thor more than just a god of thunder. Thor was born into power. He was the son of Odin, the All-Father, ruler of the Aesir, the god who sacrificed an eye for wisdom and ruled with vision beyond time. But Thor's mother was not like the others in Asgard. She was linked to the earth itself, raw, ancient, unyielding. From this union came a god unlike any other. Thor did not inherit Odin's hunger for knowledge or Loki's silver tongue. Instead, he inherited strength, pure, overwhelming strength, and a heart that burned fiercely for justice. Even as a child, Thor was different. Where other gods trained with strategy, Thor trained with endurance. Where others debated fate, Thor tested limits. He was loud, he was impulsive, he was often reckless. But beneath it all was something rare among the gods: honest intention. Thor did not crave worship. He did not seek dominion. He wanted one thing: to protect. The hammer Mjolnir is often seen as Thor's symbol, but few understand what it truly represents. Forged by dwarves in the depths of the world, Mjolnir was meant to be the ultimate weapon. It could shatter mountains. It could summon storms. It would always return to Thor's hand. But there was a flaw. The hammer's handle was short not because of poor craftsmanship, but because creation itself resisted perfection. And in that flaw, Thor and Mjolnir became mirrors of each other. Thor was not perfect. He was powerful, but not wise. Brave, but not cautious. Loyal, but easily angered. Mjolnir did not make Thor strong. It demanded that he earn its power again and again. Every time Thor lifted the hammer, it was not just strength being tested, it was worthiness. Among all the realms, Thor favored one above the rest: Midgard, the world of humans. While other gods saw humanity as fragile or insignificant, Thor saw something else. He saw courage in weakness. He saw resilience in mortality. He saw lives that mattered precisely because they were short. Thor became the shield between Midgard and chaos. When giants crossed the borders of the world, it was Thor who stood in their path. When storms threatened villages, Thor's thunder answered not in destruction, but in warning. To farmers, sailors, and warriors, Thor was not distant or mysterious. He was close. He was present. He was reliable. People did not pray to Thor for wisdom or prophecy. They prayed to him for safety. Thor's life was defined by conflict with the giants, ancient beings of chaos, raw nature, and destruction. But this was not a simple war of good versus evil. Giants represented forces beyond control: winter, famine, earthquakes, extinction.
Make sure the grain is
They were
covered
not
before the
villains.
storm worsens.
They were
And Thor has
inevitability.
returned.
Thor did not hate them. He confronted them. Every journey into Jotunheim was a reminder that strength alone was never enough. Thor was tricked, outsmarted, humiliated. There were moments when Thor lifted Mjolnir, ready to strike, only to realize that violence would solve nothing. These moments shaped him. Each defeat carved patience into his spirit. Each failure forced growth. Thor learned that being strong did not mean always winning. It meant standing up every time. Many gods laughed at Thor. They called him simple-minded, too direct, too loud, too emotional. Thor let them laugh, because Thor understood something they didn't. He knew who he was. He didn't need to deceive like Loki. He didn't need to sacrifice like Odin. He didn't need worship to exist. Thor's strength came from clarity. When Thor said he would protect Midgard, he meant it. When he swore an oath, he kept it. When he failed, he owned it. In a realm of gods playing games with fate, Thor was honest. And honesty among immortals was rare. Thor and Loki were opposites in every way. Thor acted, Loki planned. Thor trusted, Loki questioned. Yet despite betrayal, manipulation, and endless conflict, Thor never fully turned his back on Loki. Why? Because Thor believed people were more than their worst actions. Again and again, Loki crossed lines that could not be undone. Again and again, Thor hoped for redemption. This was not weakness. It was compassion. Thor understood that even gods could be broken. As prophecies whispered of Ragnarok, the end of gods and worlds, Thor carried a burden heavier than any hammer. He knew his fate. He knew that one day he would face the world serpent Jormungandr. He knew that even victory would mean death. Thor did not run from this knowledge. He did not bargain with destiny. He did not search for loopholes. He prepared. Thor trained not to survive, but to finish his duty. At Ragnarok, Thor would strike the serpent down and take only 9 steps before falling. Not because he was weak, but because some victories cost everything. Thor was not the smartest god. He was not the most cunning. He was not the most powerful in magic. But Thor was the most dependable. When chaos rose, Thor answered. When fear spread, Thor stood firm. When the world needed a shield, Thor became it. Thor reminds us that strength is not perfection, that courage includes fear, that true power lies not in domination, but in protection. He was not just a god of thunder. He was a guardian, a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even flawed beings can carry the weight of worlds. And when the thunder echoes across the sky, it is not a warning of destruction. It is the sound of someone standing watch.